Hello folks and welcome to World of Warcraft. I don't know if anyone of you knows that I actually play World of Warcraft. I play a lot of World of Warcraft, and honestly I don't even know if any one of you guys are playing World of Warcraft. So that's why I haven't uploaded anything from World of Warcraft, because I don't even know if you are interested in seeing such content or not. But I thought that, you know what, I'm just gonna make a couple of videos and see if I get any interest on World of Warcraft, because honestly I love this game. It's an awesome game. I love it very much. It's kind of a good time to make videos also, because the Warlords of Draenor just launched into alpha, which means I have no idea how long it's gonna take until the game is released. I know some people have talked about it and maybe around like December or something, but it's still up in the air. No one really knows when the game is actually going to be released. But making some World of Warcraft videos seems like it's kind of something that you might want to do at this point. And in this video I think I'm just gonna talk a little about my character, and in the next video I'm gonna show you a little bit about like raiding tactics that we have for our guild. But in this video I'm gonna talk about my character Illyn the Kingslayer, who is actually a mage, a frost mage. I love playing a mage. It's I've tried a lot of classes, tried to fuck around with a lot of classes. The mage is the only class that I really feel like it's actually fun to play. I mean, the other class that's getting close to the mage is actually warlock. First of all, I just want to mention that I am in a guild that's not particularly big. It's actually so small that we can't raid on our own. We have help with another. I'm part of the guild that's called the Hackett clan. I don't know if you can see, it's kind of the Hackett clan. And we get help from another guild that's called Iron Brew, and basically they don't have enough players to raid either, so we kind of help each other out, and it's all in good fun. And my item level as for now is up at 566. I haven't upgraded everything. I'm gonna show you a little bit about what kind of stuff I have on my character. I'm gonna show you a little bit about the rotation that I use, and I think I was gonna go through like talents and stuff also, just so you guys can see a little bit how I play as a mage. And maybe some of you guys actually have like tips for playing the mage better, because like everything that I know, I've read about it or just tried out different tactics to see what works for me. Because in general, there's like there are tactics that are like the best choice for every class, but then also sometimes you just have to feel like, does these talents work for me? Well, I'm mainly a raider. I don't do much PvP at all, I can say. So I'm just gonna go through a little bit about the raid stuff. Anyway, let's begin with my gear. As you can see, as I said, item level 566, which is it's pretty good, but it's not the best you can have. Our guild right now is not even on the heroic level. We have finished the whole raiding part system of Garrosh on flex. We got that in the bag, but we're still pushing on normal. We got Mr. Blackfuse down last time we raided normal, so hopefully we're gonna actually take down Klaxi, the Paragons of Klaxi, next time. If like most of you might not have an idea what I'm talking about, so I'm just gonna put up my dungeon journal. And when you mention raiding, there's different kinds of levels of raiding. First we have looking for raid. It's the easiest thing, and looking for raid is something that everyone does to get the lowest level raiding gear, if you understand what I mean. And it's at this point it's not just your character that has a level. I'm at level 90, which is the highest level you can get in World of Warcraft, but also your if you watch here, you can see that it says oh, I have to focus there. It says directly under the name Damien Ice Wayne Mask and the Warforged, it says item level 575. So every item has a level that you can also upgrade, and the things you get from looking for raid that item levels are about 525, and then you can upgrade those obviously. And the next tier of raiding is flex raiding. And what's special about flex raiding, as of now, when you're raiding, you can only take either a 10-man group or a 25-man group. But what's good about flex is that if you have an odd number of players, like if you're actually 11 players or if you're 13 players one night, you can do flex and play as 13 players instead of 10. The only thing what happens with the raid is that it kind of scales after how many players you have. So what I said looking for raid, which is the basic one. We have flex, which is the little bit harder one. Then we have normal, which you can only play 10-man or 25-man. And then the last one is heroic, and our guild hasn't even started to play on heroic yet. We're still at the end bosses of 10-man normal. We aren't even that... Oh shit, I'm falling. Good thing about Mage, I can slow fall. We have Siege of Orgrimmar here, and we have... These are the kind of all the bosses that are in the Siege of Orgrimmar. First we have Immersius, the Fallen Protectors, Nurushen, and Shah of Pride. And these are the 4 bosses that you usually... These are the 4 first bosses that are in the first raid, so to say. And then the second raid has Galakras, Iron Juggernaut, Kokron Dark Shaman, and General Nasgrim. And after that, there's only 3 bosses in each tier, so we have Spoils. We have Malkorok, Spoils of Pandaria, and Thuk the Bloodthirsty. And in the end we had Siegecrafter, Blockfuse, Paragons of the Cluxy, and Garrosh Hellscream. When we're talking about normal, we usually start off by playing Shah of Pride. You can jump around a little bit with the bosses, so we usually take down Shah, because I think he drops a weapon that might be good for some of our players. So we usually take on him first, and then we jump all the way down to Thuk the Bloodthirsty and just bump our heads into the big ass dinosaur. And obviously we die a lot, so that takes quite a lot of the evening. And then we head on to Siegecrafter Blackfuse, which we actually killed last Tuesday when I played anyway. So that was an amazing feat of us to actually be able to do that, because we have just bashed our head against that guy forever. And then on normal we have Paragons of the Cluxy and Garrosh Hellscream, and none of these have we even got to yet on normal mode. But when we have played flex, we have actually killed all of the bosses, even Garrosh Hellscream. And it's today when I'm making this video, it's actually a Friday, so tonight we are going to play, hopefully. Let's get a check. I think we're only 9 at the moment. You can see here, there's not a lot of people that's signing up every week, and we're basically just a 10-man team. Let's see here, this was last Friday. We played, we were 10 people and a lot of tentatives. So hopefully some of the tentatives shows up and we can actually play Garrosh this lovely Friday. And the reason to why we keep on just bashing our heads, because, well, one could say that sure, we're done with flex and we could just go on doing normal on Fridays, but the reason to why we continue to bash our head against Garrosh is because Garrosh drops a weapon. I don't have it right now, but he drops an heirloom weapon, which if I'm not mistaken, it will scale up to a level 100 when you play in Warlords of Draenor. So that's why you want that weapon. And I think in like a couple of months that weapon will start to drop. Like they've already increased the drop rate, but they will increase the drop rate even more, and eventually it will drop like 100% guaranteed. But you kind of want the heirloom like right now, because it's a little bit cooler to actually get it when it's still kind of hard to get the weapon. So that's why we keep on bashing our heads against Garrosh Hellscream. So I'm guessing that tonight when we are going to play, we're going to play Siegecrafter Blackfuse, Paragons of the Cluxy, and then Garrosh, and then we'll see what we do. We're probably going to go back and do some of the older content to get some gear for some people that haven't got the gear yet. And I'm actually going to record Siegecrafter Blackfuse, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to record all of them. It depends solely on how much space I got on my computer, but hopefully I can play and record most of these fights, and when I do that I'm gonna go through them and kind of explain the tactics that we use and why we use the tactics that we actually use. But enough about that. Let's take a look about my character. First of all, I just want to say that my transmog is fucking awesome. Look at that, I look like a fucking Cluxy. If you don't know what the Cluxy is, I can actually show you in a little bit, so you get a little understanding. It's basically a buggy kind of. So my well, okay, I guess no one, if you don't play World of Warcraft, you have no idea what a transmog is. But a transmog is basically when you want, I'm just gonna show you. The gear that I have on actually looks like, I'm gonna see if I can, yeah, this is the gear that I have on right now. It looks like this, and it's just shitty. Look, this is, it's ugly as shit. And what a transmog is, that you can actually change the appearance so that you can, well, my staff for example can actually look like another staff in the game. So this is what the looks I've gone with. I got a lot. I got some Warforged stuff and a lot of I was gonna scale through here. I got the legendary cloak, which is a quest. That's the thing that pops up every once in a while behind me, like the big green things. It's a legendary quest. It takes a fuckball of loading time to get, but I actually got it. So I got a lot of stuff. Anyway, I'm just gonna, if anyone's interested, the patch that was recently released allowed every player to upgrade our items 2 more levels. So for a couple of weeks ago you could only upgrade an item to 2 levels. That's why I haven't upgraded every fucking item I have. You see that it says 4x4, it means that I have upgraded fully. I can't upgrade it anymore, but the items that says 2x4 means that I can upgrade 2 more times. And as you can see here, 548, that was the limit for the things that you could get on Flex. If you have any questions about it, you can just ask me in the comments. Also, I forgot to mention this also, my whole this whole area looks a little bit different than the normal UI that World of Warcraft is using, and that's because I'm using a thing that's called LVUI. And basically, if I can just go in and LVUI here, I'm just gonna show you. Basically, I can just change everything here. This is just, I can change and just oh, let's see what we're gonna I can just drag the minimap and put it over here or whatever. So you can do basically just anything in this whole thing, and I kind of like it. You can just put things as you want it, and this is kind of the way I want things right now. It's probably a better way to organize things, but I think I got things. I know where things are, and it looks pretty good. So okay, the first thing you need to know about when you're playing a mage is that you are really squishy, which means that you will die every fucking time something happens, which is terrible, but it's also a lot of fun because it makes you have to focus more on what you're gonna do to not die. When you play another class, like a class that has mail or plate clothing, they can take a lot of shit, but a lot of classes that have only cloth, they die pretty easily. And most classes that has cloth, I've gone through this, and basically when you're playing as a mage, you don't have any healing abilities. Especially not if you're playing as arcane mage or fire mage. You have some utilities to not die, but the most survivability is in actually frost. Honestly, when I think about it, mages are the only class that doesn't really have a spell to heal your life back. I mean, warlocks have their little health stones that they can make, and they can just take those whenever they're in need, and they also have their little pal. Of course, I have my water elemental, but he doesn't, like, he can't tank or anything. He dies pretty quickly. So if you play as a warlock, you have another little pet that can usually take some heat off from you. But when I'm playing as a mage, I get all the shit on me. So I have to run around like a headless chicken and try to not die. That's the most important part, is playing a mage. If you look at like priests that also have cloth, they can heal themselves, they can put shields up, and like they can do a lot of things to get health back. I guess we should probably talk about talent book first. I'm jumping around a lot, but there's a lot of explanation into how to play a mage. So this is the talent tree that you get, and at every specific level, at level 15, level 30, up to 90, you get a specific talent that does, well, it does some specific shit. And the first talent you get, I'm just gonna try to explain these as good as possible. Basically, this ability, Presence of Mind, gives you a next spell, gives you a mage spell for free. So this spell, for example, Frostfire Bolt, I'm gonna cast it. You see that there's a really long cast time for it. Frostbolt goes much faster. Ice Lance is instant, but it's so long to cast Frostfire Bolt. So with Presence of Mind, you can actually get instant Frostfire Bolts, but you can only get one thing every 1.5 minutes, so it's not that great. Well, then we have Blazing Speed, which I actually prefer because it gives me another movement thing. One other thing that mages have to move around, because that's the main thing about being a mage. You move around so that you don't die, because if you get hit by a big thing, you're dead. So basically, you're running around, and then you can use Blink, which I have keybinded it to my mouse. So basically, whenever I roll my mouse, the middle button, when I roll it, I go bop and move around. And you can see here that there's a 13 second cooldown for that one. So if let's say there's something big ass coming around this area and I have to move out of the way, I blink out of it, but then suddenly something else shows up and it's just a clusterfuck of fucks, then I have to move again. I just do that and move a little bit faster and out of harm's way. So that's why I actually like Blazing Speed also. Ice Flows is actually kind of good also. It makes so that you can move while casting. As you can see here, when I attack this training dummy, I have to stand still, because if I move, I can't shoot it when I'm moving. The only two attacks that I can use when I'm moving is Ice Lance and Firebolt, Fire Blast. But otherwise, I don't have really any abilities that I can cast on the move. It has 3 charges, which means that you can cast this thing while on the move. For example, if you're chasing a boss and you need to move and you need to shoot, you can just shoot. You click the thing, you shoot, you click the thing, you shoot, you click the thing, you shoot. 3 charges and then it's up. And it's pretty good. For example, if you're chasing Thok the Bloodthirsty, the big ass dinosaur that's running around like a headless chicken, you have to just try to get him in your casting zone, or just basically when you have to cast on the move. But I honestly prefer Blazing Speed over Ice Flows, but because with Blazing Speed and Blink you can get to Thok or from Thok without having to worry too much. So I guess it's debatable, but when I used Ice Flows, I realized that I didn't use it as much as I should have, and I kind of just prefer Blazing Speed. Then at level 30 we have these 3 things, and basically it's just kind of shields that shield you from damage, and there's a debatable which one is better. I think this one, if I cast Temporal Shield, I get reduced damage by 15%, and all the damage I take during that time will then heal back on me, and that's I guess it's a pretty good ability, and I know that a lot of mages use this to survive, but honestly I've always noticed when I use it, I get hit by a big ability, the healers don't have any chance to help me, and then I die, and then the healing back thing doesn't really matter because I'm dead. So I don't know, I might, maybe I should be using it, but I don't really care. I'm not using it. I'm being an asshole right now. And this thing protects you a little bit, but I think a lot of mages actually kind of say that this shit is useless. It's not good. It's not as good as these two. Ice Barrier basically puts up, I show you, puts up this little shield around you, which absorbs a quite big amount of damage, and it lasts 1 minute. And it has a 25-second cooldown. And I actually think that this is a really good thing to just pop whenever something big is going to hit. Just so that you can actually help your healers. Because when big things hit, your healers have a shitload of time to actually get everyone back up to health again. And if you have this thing, it's just so much help for them. And it's a relief for you also. So I like fire. I like Ice Barrier more than Temporal Shield, because then I know that when stuff hits me, it's going to just absorb and not do anything, and it feels better. Temporal Shield is more shady, that you never know if you're going to live through the hit, and if the healing back thing is going to be important or whatever. But that's just basically how I play my mage. I'm not saying that this is the way you should play, this is how I play my mage. And this is how I like it. At level 45 you get a bunch of other things here, but these are mostly for PvP, so it doesn't really matter whatever you choose to have. Ring of Frost basically puts out a big ass ring of frost, and everything that goes inside of it gets frozen. And I guess that might be good in PvP, but it's also really obvious, so I think most of the players choose to stay out of it. I don't know. It's not really much use in raiding environment. Ice Ward puts a little, well, it kind of looks like this, like the shield. It puts a little ward on either you or your little water elemental or a friend or whatever. That gets a little ward on them, and if anything hits the person, basically this happens. It shoots out a little ice thing, and the thing that happens is, I can actually show you on these guys, they get frozen like that, which is pretty nifty. But I also feel like there's not any need of it in raid environment, so that's just something for PvP. Frostjaw, on the other hand, silences and freezes your target. I'm gonna show you exactly how. This is Frostjaw. Boom! He gets frozen, and then he does take more damage when he is blue, when he is frozen, for me. So it's pretty good. What it also does is that it silences people. I try to use this on Garrosh, because there's a phase on Garrosh where you need to silence people, so I use my one silence ability, and I usually try to use Frostjaw also. Honestly, I don't even know if it works, but it's just, I kind of use it just to try to not. It's better to use it than to not use it, in my opinion. Even though it might not do anything at all, you just use it and see what happens, basically. So that's why I have it. It doesn't really matter for me which one you have, you just choose one that you're comfortable with. At level 60 we have a bunch of other, and these are a little bit more important. You have one ability that's called invisibility. When I click this thing, it turns me invisible. After a little while, now I am invisible. Not invincible, but invisible. So people can't, or rather mobs cannot see me. And this duration is, it has a 5-minute cooldown, and it's only up for 20 seconds. But there's a thing that's called greater invisibility, which makes you invisible right away. You saw that when I casted it, it took a little while for me to become invisible. But with greater invisibility, you get invisible right away, like that, like snap. What it also does is it removes some damage from you, and you can't really get hurt by anything. So it's quite a good thing, but and you might use it at some points, but you might use it sometime, but it's not a thing that I kind of fond of. A thing that you have to realize with the talent trees, as the talents might differ from every encounter, and I'm gonna explain to you exactly why right now. I usually switch in between Cauterize and Cold Snap, and the reason to why is that, well, Cauterize, when you are killed by something, which you are a lot when you're playing as a mage, Cauterize brings you back to life. It's a second life, but it only brings you back to 50% of your health. So basically, this is my health bar, it gets 50%, and then you get a little debuff that's gonna be up here. that slowly burns away my life until I only have 10% left. I usually have no idea when cauterize happens, because usually when you die of something that just hits you big time, you just realize, oh fuck, I'm dead. And sometimes when I'm playing and raiding, I just realize that, oh, the cauterize debuff is up. That means I died at some point. What the hell? When did that happen? So I usually, when cauterize does its thing, I had no idea that I actually died at that point. So it's actually a really good thing that you get an extra life. But a thing you might do if you realize that your healers cannot heal you in time, since you're burning down your life after you used it, you can actually use a thing that's called Ice Block, which I'm gonna show you. Well, I can just show you right away. You pop that thing. In this thing, you are invulnerable for, how about 10 seconds? I think. Yeah, 10 seconds. Nothing can hurt you while you're inside of that. When you know that you're going to die, and you already used cauterize, or cauterize just happened, anyway, you know that you're gonna die and you have no extra life or anything, you ice block, because that thing saves you every time. Basically what I do when my health is going down is that I usually first put up my ice barrier so that I absorb a lot of damage, and when that thing is done, I still take a lot of damage. I usually use health stones, which is something that's not my ability at all. It's something that warlocks give us, and it's kind of a potion thing that gives me back life, and you get 3 of those in one charge. Well, you get 1 health stone and there's 3 charges on the health stone. So whenever you have to pop one of those, you do that. If I pop the health stone and I'm still taking a shitload of damage, I usually take a healing potion, unless I have already used Potion of Jade Serpent, which gives me a lot of intellect in the beginning of the fight. I usually don't use that, because I think it's better to have a potion available for the times when you're fucked. So that's just most mages usually use Potion of Jade Serpent, because it gives you, well, 4,000 intellect for 25 seconds, which gives you a damage boost of a lot. But I kind of feel like I need to have the Master Potion available in case of death, imminent death, basically. But if you feel like something, like you're gonna fucking die on this attack, or you're taking too much damage, you ice block. That's your best ability for not dying. The sad thing about this though is that it's 5 minutes cooldown, and you can see down at the bottom of this, see this little explanation in the corner. It says that it causes hypothermia, which means that you can't ice block again during 30 seconds. But you can't ice block, it's a 5-minute cooldown. Well, I'm gonna explain to you why that is. The next one, Cold Snap, is a really good ability, because at times when you don't need cauterize, when you don't need a second life, you should use Cold Snap. Because when you press this ability, it finishes the cooldown of my ice block. So the 5-minute cooldown is just, you have a free ice block again. But it also, well, your Frost Nova, your Cone of Cold. My Cone of Cold is this thing that you couldn't see there for some reason, I don't know why. It's basically just a blizzard kind of storm that comes out of him. You get that back right away. I don't know why you can't fucking see that. It's weird. And also this one, Frost Nova, gets all its shit back again, so you can cast them instantly. This thing is good also because it gives you back health. So, for example, you know you're about to die. You don't have cauterize, you don't have a second life, and you're about to die. Well, you ice block, you press Cold Snap, you get back 30% of your health. Also, you stay in ice block and get healed up by healers. Then you come out of ice block, you have full health, and you have another ice block in case something bad happens. So Cold Snap is really good. But these things, I usually always go with Cauterize and then use Cold Snap whenever it's needed. And I'm gonna explain to you exactly when that is. Spoils of Pandaria is a boss that's not really a boss. It's a boss fight, but you don't fight a boss really. It's like when you fight Malkorok or Siegecraft or Black Fuse, you fight bosses. When you fight Spoils of Pandaria, it's basically 4 rooms. 2 rooms on the right side, 2 rooms on the left side. Your group splits up into 2 teams that has enough tanks and enough healers to be able to sustain both environments. And then you basically just have to smash through the rooms. And in one of these 2 rooms on your side, there's going to be a mob or an enemy that's gonna put bombs on you as a players. And honestly, I suck so bad at placing these bombs, because what you have to do is that you have to run backwards and place these bombs so that they won't hurt any of the raid, because if they blow up, you're kind of fucked. So you have to place them exactly in a good place, and there's actually 3 bombs that you have to place. And I suck so bad at this, which means that I usually die or get my raid killed. And so I've come up with a solution that's really good. When I play Spoils of Pandaria, I use Cold Snap instead of Cauterize, because usually I never die when playing Spoils. There's nothing in that that specific raid boss that kills me instantly, so I don't need Cauterize. Therefore I use Cold Snap instead, which means that I have 2 ice blocks. So whenever I get targeted by one of those bomb things, I run away into the corner, I ice block, and I just explode, and it doesn't do any damage to me, and it's awesome. And then I run back into the whole thing. I keep on doing damages on things I need to damage, and then I get another bomb. Oh shit, what to do now? Well, since I have Cold Snap, I have another instant ice block, and I can just go away, and hopefully if the hypothermia has died away, I can do another ice block. And if I get targeted again, well, then I just have to try to place the bombs as carefully as possible. So if you're really bad at placing bombs and you're playing as a mage, you can actually do this, and it's a good way for you to survive. And so that's what I usually do, but otherwise I always use Cauterize in every other kind of thing, because suddenly you just realize when you see the debuff that's usually up here for me, it says that, oh shit, I died, holy shit, I'm dead. When the fuck? Oh well, I died at one point and now I'm back. When the fuck did that happen? At level, I'm just babbling on now, I feel, but at level 75 you get a bunch of different bombs that you can use. And this is all, you can just read all of these, you can pause and read all of these, so you can actually see what they do. And if you go to Icy Veins, just pop in Icy Veins in Google, you get to a site where you can actually choose and kind of read on how to place the Frost Mage. With Living Bomb I can just do this. Bomb on him, bomb on him, bomb on him, and then bomb on him. And you see that there's ticking damage on all of them. And then after a while they should explode. Well, oh, there we go. There exploded and does a ton of damage. Exploded, and then this should explode also. No? Oh, okay. Whatever. But Nether Tempest and Frost Bomb, those 2 are not instant, so therefore I kind of like Living Bomb better. But this is just depending on how you play and how you want to play, and which kind of boss you're meeting. And then at level 90 you get the last kind of stuff, and usually when you play as a Frost Mage, Evocation is the best thing. Encounters Ward give you, well, it gives you another ice barrier basically, but it's way worse than Ice Barrier, and I don't know, I don't like that ability. And Rune Power places it's kind of like Invocation, but you put down a rune underneath you, and you have to stand in the rune to benefit from it. So in stationary fights you can use that, but honestly in Sigil Ogrimmar there's no stationary fights, therefore it's kind of useless. So I always use Invocation, which makes my Evocation much better. It removes the cooldown on my Evocation, and it reduces its channel period, but also its duration. But that's no biggie, you can just cast that again. And what's happening basically is that I deal 15% increased spell damage, but I also regenerate 50 less mana for 1 minute. But the thing is, I'm going to show you right here. This is my Evocation, and when I use this passive ability hits right away. So now this invocation thing is on, and I do much more damage right now for 1 minute. And when I do damage now, well, I'm not gonna do it right now, but what happens is that I lose a lot of mana. When the mana is at the bottom, I just regenerate and the mana goes right up again. I'm gonna show you in a minute how that looks. So invocation is really important to always have up, because you do a ton more damage with it up. So as soon as it goes down, you have 1 minute. As soon as it goes down, you just reapply it and you have another minute. So it's really important to keep on with those. I'm gonna look through glyphs also, but I think I'm gonna go through my rotation first and then take the glyphs afterwards.